Good morning, Abhishek. It's Tuesday. Oh yeah, I'm here because rain has stopped the day again. I'm in the basement. If you know the conference room. Anyway, back to the video. Finally, we're making a direct vlog. It's been so long. I know it's just been 2 weeks since we made a video. Since at least I made a video like this, and still it feels really weird that I've not talked to you this way for a long time. But yeah, that's because we just released our first podcast, and I think the platform Anchor shows that it has like 10 plays on Spotify, and maybe there were, I think, like 20 views on YouTube, but I really don't want to count that. But even if we do, I mean, at the very worst, I think there were like 10 to 15 people that heard our podcast, maybe more than half of it. And I mean, that's just weird. Try to imagine, you're just sitting, we're just talking, we're just having normal conversation about just random stuff, and there are 15 people just sitting there listening to you. That is really weird, but that's really interesting as well. That we're talking about stuff that is important. Maybe, I don't know. I mean, I guess YouTube comments will tell us about it, or maybe even feedback that we get directly. And I'm looking forward to feedback from my own friends and also your friends. So keep me posted on that. And that brings me to the topic of this video. I actually had a couple of friends that are they were talking about the fact that the first video that we're making is a cryptocurrency investing video, podcast, I mean. And uh, I told them it's more of a technical, more of a theoretical discussion. And they said that it would be great if I could also make an investing 101 video. And since we discussed about the theoretical side of it, I'm going to discuss the practical side of it. And yeah, so it's just investing 101. So let me just tell you first, think, as we discussed before, think of investing as buying and selling an investment product. The only difference is that the difference between buying and selling is a time frame where the price of the investment product increases and not decreases. If you buy a phone, if you buy a car, if you buy a house, well, maybe if you buy a house, the price might increase, but still, the idea is that for a car or a phone or a laptop, if once you buy it, the price has automatically dropped. If you don't make crazy unique modifications to it, yeah, think of investing as a buying and selling an investment product, and you'll instantly understand the importance of using the properties of a product in a market that is useful to the investment logic. So the importance is of supply and demand. If there's a lot of supply of the product, then the price automatically goes down, and if the demand is high, then uh, the same happens. The price keeps increasing, and if the supply, this supply demand balance happens not just in stocks but also on on commodities or on real estate. And I'll get to the types later, but that's really the idea, that you understand the depreciation and appreciation of a product's price, its value. And it's not just the actual value. A gold chain is usually worth more than a gold block, because the chain also has the work that has gone into it. So it's not just the actual value, but also the perceived value. That what's the perceived value for chain number one to me, as opposed to chain number two, or ring number three, if you get my point. And yeah, with that in mind, you'll understand what kind of products you want to buy, so that the value of your money increases in the future once you send it out into the you know once you sell it in the future. That's just as simple as that. And talking about the kind of products that you can buy, there's always, the most common that people talk about is stocks. Buying and selling in the stock market. Of course, the stock market does not just have stocks; it also has mutual funds, it has ETFs. But I think I'm going to stick to simple ideas like the stock in the stock market, and let's just keep it simple that way. And other is commodities. Trying to invest in silver, gold, oil, and so on and so forth. So I guess buying oil directly is not as easy. So you could buy bonds, or you can buy I'm not sure of the exact term, but it's essentially a document that says that you have this much amount of oil. The idea is that you can also buy gold, silver, and all these other kinds of commodities. And if the value of your rupee or your dollar increases, but the value of gold increases more, that's when you know that your investment has gone better than baseline. And that's another point that I wanted to discuss, that it's really important for you to understand the baseline of investment value that you want to generate. So if you're saying that I want to get my investment value back that is more than the gold's appreciation value, then you have to invest accordingly. And you need to have a balance, that even though you're investing in high risk items, high risk investment products, they should also be balanced by low risk, low return products that are sure to give you the balanced return that you need in case the high risk products will go down in value. And that's really just the next it just brings me to the next point, that you need to find your own risk appetite. Risk appetite, I don't know. It's just I personally might have a much lower risk appetite. I don't like to invest a lot in stocks or futures or options, and these are really complicated terms in the first place. Futures and options, how you buy them, how you sell them. But the idea is that you need to understand the risk associated with every product, which is the probability of the price jumping versus the probability of the price falling. And you would buy and sell a product based on that jump and fall, making you lose and gain money. And you have to understand that your profit is not equal to that jump in value, but it's equal to the jump in value times the probability of jump. I know it's you should be able to understand the idea behind probability. I'm really not addressing it to anyone that doesn't understand probability, but I am. But the idea is that the profit is not just the jump in value, because if the probability of jump is 100%, then you get all of the profit. But you need to account the fact that the probability might not be as high as you think. And that's really the risk, your own risk profile. How much probability, how low probability of the price increasing are you yourself comfortable with? And then you really just come to the crux of the problem, trying to calculate the probability of jumping. Yeah, it's really just, you have to understand that even Warren Buffett does the same thing, and he has failed with the most recent companies like Microsoft and Facebook. He has said before that he did not realize the value of these tech companies that have now become tech giants, and he really regrets that. And that's really the idea, that it's about your own risk appetite, and it really does depend on every industry. And yeah, another point is a repeat point that I'll bring from the podcast. That is, the stock price is not directly attached to the company getting actual money. You have to understand that. So don't think that the stock, buying the stock gives the company money. You're just buying it from someone else in the market. The company does not get money. It just gets the value. So if you bought at a higher price than the person that you bought from initially bought it, then the price has increased, and hence the value has increased for the company. So don't go in there thinking that, okay, I'll just invest in Tesla because I want to give them money and I want them to know that, I'm supporting them. You may buy a Tesla stock, but that does not give Tesla money directly. They'll need to share, sell their own stocks for that. And that's just a completely different direction that I'm not going again in this video. It's 101. Which brings me to understanding market conditions. I know it's getting a bit complicated right now, but you need to understand each market specific conditions and buy and sell stocks or commodities as they go. So, and the examples in tech that clearly come to mind is automotive companies moving to electric cars. General Motors has said this. I think Volvo has talked about it as well. There's Ford just came out with F-150 electric as well as Mustang electric, and this is a direction that automotive companies are taking, and this is a huge market move that not all automotive companies are making right now, but sooner or later I think everyone will have to. So that's an important thing to know. So if a company is going in the direction sooner, then it's maybe a good idea to invest in them. Also, semiconductor shortage. So it has just not affected Intel, AMD, Nvidia, but it has also affected automotive companies again, and it has affected all kinds of appliance companies, even like LG and Sony and all that. They're not directly connected to this industry, but because they make products, Sony makes cameras, Sony makes PlayStation, and that the semiconductor shortage has also dented the PlayStation 5 sales. So you have to understand that as well. What kind of company stock you're buying, maybe or what kind of mutual fund you're buying that supports these companies, and maybe you might want to hold out. I don't generally go into a lot of non-tech stocks, at least not right now. I'm still learning, but I guess one of the best examples of non-tech products are oil supply changes. So you may remember that there was a time where the price of crude oil, I think that it goes by the barrel, and I think the value went negative for a day. It was a really weird day, but the idea still stands that oil supply can directly affect oil production companies, I guess. I don't know, what do you call oil refineries, I'm sorry. Yeah. So oil refineries, end users, even retailers like Shell or I don't know, petroleum, whatever, they may also be affected by oil supplies. And there is current pressure on healthcare providers to provide, insurance care to COVID patients, or supply, controlling the supply of vaccinations and so on and so forth. So there's a lot of things going on in the world, and the best way to make investments is to understand what is going on in the world and trying to invest in one of the events. So if it's, for me, one of my favorite investments is General Motors. I bought a stock of General Motors because it was one of the first companies that talked about going to electric cars, and it's I feel that it's really high value. It's a personal opinion, and you might not believe in the same thing. I think people might believe in a different direction that automotive companies may be going. Maybe they're dying, and new companies might take their place to get electric transportation. But yeah, that's just the idea that you have to understand what kind of market conditions are, and you should invest in that direction. And one final point: only invest in money that you can lose. Investment is parking money. I mean, I guess this is my own personal opinion, but I feel that you should only invest with the idea in mind that this money is not going to be used in the future. It's just value appreciation. I mean, it's just better than your money just sitting in a savings account, right? And that just means that you are not going to use this money in the future. So only invest in money that you can lose. And this point is even more true if you have a higher risk appetite. It's not, if you feel that you can endure higher risk, uh, you have to understand that you might end up losing that money, and you should not be dependent on these investments as as valuable as they might turn out to be. I mean, you might just invest $10 in Dogecoin and it'll go to $100 maybe by the end of the year. But remember that those $10 might just as well turn out to be zero, and you need to know that those $10 are gone as soon as you bought Dogecoin and not as soon as you sold Dogecoin. And yeah, that's really it from my side. I know I guess for an investment 101 video, this was quite long, but I mean, since we've talked a lot about the theory, I felt it was a good way to balance the balance it out with actual investing. And yeah, let's see how you do your research on top of this. And I will see you on Friday.